Today, on the workbench is our vintage 1998 Trinity Street Spec racer. So back in 1998, I thought I was going to be an RC racer. I was so excited. So I bought myself one of these kits, the TRC Spec 10 Parking Lot Racer by Team Trinity. It was approved for street spec parking lot racing. The whole idea was the cars were all identical, everybody was equal playing field, it was all about driver skill. Well, it's good to know that I haven't actually gotten any better at driving this thing since 1998. Back in 1998, when Street Spec as a racing style came out, I thought it'd be something awesome that I would get into. I had tried racing one time off-road at an indoor track in Huntington, Long Island, and I just did terrible, so we don't really want to talk about that. So I thought, hey, this is something I can do. It's not about who has the most hop-ups, who has the best car. It's really about the skill of the driver. And as we saw, the driver's skill was lacking. But it was still a fun experience. I bought this car with the idea of going down and racing every Sunday down at Willis Hobbies on Long Island in Mineola, which I think is still there. They were doing this street spec racing on Sundays. So I bought the car. You know, there's a lot of rules around this street spec type car. These cars are really simple to put together. You couldn't spend more than $200 for the whole kit. It came with the car, with the chassis, with the body, with the motor, with the battery, at least the one that I bought. You had to decorate the car so that it looked like an appropriate racing car, nothing crazy. So I went with an Apple computer themed NASCAR car. You can see here, I had a ton of Apple stickers. So this was my interpretation back in 1998, what an Apple themed NASCAR car would look like. I bought all sorts of stickers, put in the sponsor stickers, had the Apple logo, put all the stuff in, built this car, was super excited to get into street spec racing, and that was very short-lived. I went once, did terrible, and never went again. Not anyone's fault but my own. I just was awful at it, and the guys that were into it were super serious, the tire warmers, they were setting it up. But the concept of street spec racing was super cool. You know, we'd pick up the kit, and it was really, really easy to build. It had 50 steps total. It was a really well-designed manual. You could see all the pictures, how to put it together. You know, it didn't have crazy suspension. I think this is a pan car. I'm pretty sure that's the type of car. If I'm not right, just let me know in the comments what kind of car this is. But you can see that's the whole thing. That's how you set it up. And then there were these rules. And these are the rules. I found a copy of them again online from 1998. These are the rules that I remember, like what you could use, if it wasn't specifically in the rules, it was illegal, how you could do it, where you could have ball bearings, where you couldn't, what the spec of the tires could be, how much you could charge for the tires. So it was also geared towards hobby shops and not gouging the customer. So if we take a look, this is pretty much exactly the way I built it in 1998. The only difference now is I replaced the battery because the official Street Spec battery that it came with just no longer worked after, 20 something years. So here's a closer look at the body. It was a really nice body, well designed. I thought I did a pretty good job on the graphics and stuff. I was always really happy with the way it came out. It's filthy now after just driving it outside. Now, as you can see, it's foam tires, which, as we saw, they do not hook up well after 20 years of sitting on a wet driveway. But, I gotta be honest, I kind of remember them driving like that 20 years ago, even when it wasn't wet conditions. So, whatever. The car itself was really, really simple. Like I said, I think it's called a pan car. There isn't much to it. There's really no suspension to speak of, in the front. There's really no suspension there. The only suspension in the back is kind of this movement here where that kind of slides back and forth. It would have come with a Street Spec battery. You'll notice I don't have the Street Spec battery anymore. Like I said, I got rid of it. The gearing was super simple. It just goes like that, and then you've got this here, and that was it. It was just like a super simple gear setup, and the tires connect like that. They bolt right on. And that was the end of it. There was nothing else to it. I want to say it took me like a couple of hours to build the car. It really was simple. I opted for a Novak Duster Sport ESC back in the day, so it's still got that vintage Novak ESC in there. You weren't allowed to switch out the battery connectors. You weren't allowed to change the length of the wires that everything came with. Everything had to be stock. It still got the original Street Spec motor in there. You can see the stickers starting to come off a little bit, but that's the original motor this thing came with. So all in all, this car is quite old, and it's really held up, and it still works. I mean, like I said, it sat on the shelf for this whole time, and I just popped in a new battery, turned it on, and here we are. So it was kind of like a little snapshot in time that I wanted to show you guys. This was a fun little foray into racing that I tried unsuccessfully, but now it's a fun little car to kind of take out, bash around the driveway. I love having this thing on the shelf, and that's kind of where it's going to sit, just so we can remember what it was like when, I thought I was going to be a racer and I wasn't. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you guys today, was this vintage 1998 Team Trinity Street Spec Racer. So as always, please subscribe to my channel and like these videos so we can keep pumping out content like this every Tuesday. Thanks for watching.